Do you ever feel like you are trying to make your child be who you want them to be instead of embracing who God made them to be? Well, today I'm talking about Charlotte Mason's first principle that children are born persons. And when I first heard this, I was a little bit confused. What was she even talking about? Like, what does she mean, persons? Like, of course they're born persons. But what she was getting at was that each child is born unique, an individual, a whole little eternal soul sitting there with much potential, but it's potential that we don't know exactly what it's for. They are created by God. So it is our duty as parents and educators to try to help draw out, like the word educare means, that we're to draw out what God has put in them. So really giving them the most fertile environment that they can do that. The more children that we have had, the more this principle has really hit home for me. That I had my firstborn and thought, oh, parenthood is so wonderful, and she was such a docile child and so easygoing. And then my next one was kind of the same way, but yet had his own take on life, and then needed me more, and then had his own interests. And you start to realize that each child has their own autonomy, their own opinions about how things should go. And I started to realize that importance of developing a relationship. I started to notice that each child had their own strengths and weaknesses, and then it was up to me to figure out how to challenge them in their strengths and then how to support them in their weaknesses. One child might be slow or lazy or just not as motivated in some areas. So in that instance, a mother teacher has the opportunity to find ways to motivate that child. And the same child might be really excited about another topic. So it's finding kind of the overlap and maybe even pulling a subject from what they're not interested in and saying, hey, because education is a science of relations, we can pull that piece of math or history that they weren't as interested in and let it intersect with the thing that they are so passionate about. Why? Because a child is born a person and they have their own individuality, and we need to honor that. What we want is to help them develop resilience and the ability to cope with all that life brings us. My husband is really good at encouraging our children's individuality and their personhood. For Christmas, he got one of our children a drawing book. It was not a drawing book for kids, it was a drawing book for adults. And we've been going through it together, and this child is so excited. He takes so much pride, and this is his book. And even though it is like a little bit over his level, he is getting so much out of it because it's stretching him. It's making him see things in a different way and really encouraging him in his skill of drawing. The same thing happened with another child who really loves math. My husband bought him, 5 or 6 different books on math, and one of them incorporated some magic tricks. And so all of a sudden I look around and my son is juggling, and there's some mathematical thing that this book talked about with juggling. And I was like, oh, he totally learned that from that book. And it is through those things, through intersecting what they are passionate about, or when they are presented with a living idea that ignites a fire in them, that you want to really feed that fire with other good, true, and beautiful ideas. I think it's so important that we remember that our children are born as image bearers of God, and that we have the opportunity to encourage them. I often can catch myself talking to my children as if they are machines, that I am going to input this and you are going to output that. And that is not honoring to them. It's relational, it's a little bit messy, and I have to continue learning so that I can encourage my children in their pursuit of what is good and true and beautiful. Well, I will leave you with a quote by Charlotte Mason that really, I think, drives home this point. This is from Mason's Volume 6, Toward a Philosophy of Education, and she says, "Who shall measure the range of a child's thoughts, his continual questions about God, his speculations about Jesus? Are they no more than idle curiosity, or are they symptoms of a God hunger with which we are all born? And is a child able to comprehend as much of the infinite and the unseen as are his self-complacent elders? Is he cabined and cribbed and confined in ways, and does the fairy tale afford a joyful escape to regions where all things are possible? We are told that children have no imagination, that they must needs see and touch, taste and handle in order to know. While a child's age is still counted by months, he devotes himself to learning the properties of things by touching, pulling, tearing, throwing, tasting, but months pass into years quickly. Life is a continual progress to a child. He does not go over old things in old ways. His joy is to go on." Well, that's all I have about children or born persons. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.